And boom, we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Fat Earth Comedy Cast. We got episode 22 coming at you today. It's 420. Do you know where your children are?
Oh yeah, baby. It's my holiday. Happy 420.
Happy, my friend.
It's my holiday.
So we figured in light of the holiday, we were going to talk about the first time we actually partook in some smokage.
You remember the first time you puffied?
Yeah, I got two stories because the first time I smoked, I didn't really get high. So you want me to go first here?
Yeah. When did you get high?
All right. Well, I think I was might have been eighth grade. It was either eighth grade or ninth grade, and the first time my mom she went to this place called Harson's Island. We're from Michigan, so there's a little island that people go to. It's in Lake St. Clair, but they had a boat club there, so they were there for the weekend. And a couple of my buddies had some herb. They brought it over. I think my friend actually found a pipe from his dad. It was this little metal thing, those old school spoon bowls. You remember those things?
Yeah, I hated them, but yeah, I
All
remember
metal.
them. Yeah,
Yeah, not glass,
tarred up in
folks.
two sessions. They tarred up. He had a fucking ball of goo you could pull out
Yeah,
of the mouthpiece.
yeah. So we had this little piece. We put some bud in it and took a couple hits. I was so young, I didn't even know how to inhale. I don't think so. I don't know. I smoked it. I've heard stories that the first time you smoke, you don't get high, and I fell victim to that. I didn't get high. I know it looked like my other friends were high. This one kid ate a whole box of Nutri-Grain bars. They were going through my fucking cupboards and trying to eat everything in sight. But so that was like my first experience actually smoking it. And then this one time I remember I had this fort in the back of my house. It was like a wood structure that me and my friends would hang out in, play cards and whatever, just do, adolescent boy stuff. But so my mom and my stepfather were actually home. I went up into the fort, and two of my sister's friends, this kid named Adam and this other kid named Ray, and they came up in there and they packed up a bowl. I literally took one hit, man, and I was fucking. I remember climbing down from the fort because remember when you first smoke, it actually takes a little while to hit you because your brain has no THC in it, so it's like I don't even really know. It's like matriculating in the brain. It's got to like saturate into your mind. And by the time I got to the front porch, my mom and my stepdad were sitting out front, and they're like, "What's wrong with your eyes?" I was like, "Oh, I was just tired. I just got back from my buddy's place. We were playing video games and stuff. I think just from watching the TV, my eyes are just all drained." So they didn't believe that one bit. But I actually went to bed. It was probably like 9:30 or something. I laid down. I closed my eyes, and my God, it was like a fucking kaleidoscope adventure, bro. It was like I was flying through space and shit. I mean, this was some of the most psychedelic visions I've ever had in my life, and I've taken mushrooms a couple of times, but my lord, if only pot was like that. Well, if pot was like that every day, I wouldn't be able to puff it from time to time because it would just be, it was like, it was too intense, man. I didn't know what to do with myself, but it was a nice, calm, um, thrill ride, if that makes any sense. But yeah, there you go. For the holiday, let's take a drag here. But yeah, I don't know. For some reason, after I did it the first time, I always enjoyed it. I'm a proponent on legalizing cannabis. I think everything in moderation is decent. You just got to be careful of if you're abusing it or not. But especially for me as a musician, again, I don't want to say, oh, the pot leads me to the ideas, but for something about like just puffing and letting your mind relax, I think when your brain can relax, more ideas can come inward.
It's a relaxing thing, you know. I got a normal day-to-day job. I don't ever smoke and go to work or anything, but I
Yeah.
definitely like to relax after. I think that's exactly what it is. Now, I have a question. Do you think that the first high you don't get because you're so nervous? Like, I feel like if I was 30 and I did my first high and like I was on a mission to get high, it'd be different. But definitely, I didn't get first high my first time either. But I chalk it up to nerves and not hitting it right. And
Yeah. I don't know. I did some research. I don't know if it's because you have to actually like prime your brain with some THC or what the deal is, because that really wouldn't make any sense. Because if you stop smoking for a few years, then that same tactic should apply. But yeah, I
It
think it's a
doesn't.
lot to. Yeah, I know. Once you get high, you're gonna be able to get high for life. But I think it has to do with just I think it was the inhaling of it. When you're young, you don't really know. I didn't smoke cigarettes or anything, so I didn't really know how to inhale. Maybe I thought I was inhaling and I didn't.
Right. Yeah. So my neighbor, good old, he was in the Hilton Head stories.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
had access. His parents were ski patrol at Pine Knob at the time. Now it's DTE, fuckers. So
Yeah, it's always pine knob to us.
yeah, so we would go out to Pine Knob almost weekly. He went almost every week, but he would take me all the time and go to Pine Knob. He had a group of snow bunnies out there and older kids. I was in sixth grade, winter time.
Jesus.
Yep, I was early, baby. You know, I was smoking hand rolled cigarettes with nothing in them. They were just paper in like fourth grade.
Wow.
My buddy and I would roll we would take his dad's printer paper and roll up our own cigarettes in these little cases we made.
Wouldn't
And
that just go up in smoke? Like you just
yeah,
instantly
no,
flare in your
well,
hand?
we'd put a little filler in there if we could find something, pipe tobacco or something. But normally they were just empty and a little cotton swab at the end as little homemade filters we made.
Yeah.
But that was my real only smoking experience. We go to Pine Knob, I'm shaking. We're behind a dumpster in the parking lot. Everyone's assuring me it's cool, but I'm freaking out, you know.
Yeah. Well, they're
So
kids too. They don't know what's good or not.
we had skied a little bit. We came down off the hill. He's like, "Let's go. We can smoke with these guys." He was a year younger than me, even. So I was like, "Holy shit!" Uh, he already had puffed a couple times, but
Mm-hmm.
he's like, "You want to smoke?" And I had a negative faux pas on it just because of how I had been brought up that it was bad and all this, you know. And so we go behind the dumpster. It comes to my turn, and they're trying to tell me what to do, but I'm nervous as fuck. I'm hitting the same type of little metal pipe you're talking about they had hidden in their winter coat. The only excitement was I was going back on the hill, and like we were living off the ski hill at that point. We were, like I said, there almost every single week, so we knew how to handle ourselves. Plus, we had kind of run of the litter because we could hang out in the ski patrol lodge if we wanted and shit. But you could put your ski goggles on and you're in a different zone, you know, like nobody's asking you to take those off or something. So I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't worried about my eyes getting seen or anything. I was just nervous as shit. And so I hit it like just two little rabbit hits and
Uh-huh.
did get high, but was so nervous I felt high. And then probably waited a couple weeks before I did it again. But I don't really remember like my first high as vivid as you do. I don't remember getting that. I just remember I was a nervous wreck and that was the thing. Get busted by my parents or something there, but slowly matriculated into a full blown habit.
Yeah, no, I remember just because when I came out of my fort, my mom was on the porch and I remember it was starting to come over me and I like was trying not to look her in the eye. Your parents know you real good. You think you're gonna pull some shit over on them, but they know the ins and outs of you. They've been watching you for 14 years. So I wasn't gonna pull that over on her. But again, I want to reiterate the fact if my mom ever does listen to this, because I know she'll have a conniption and be like, I raised him wrong. It's like this is just a part of growing up. Even like you were saying, you're from the south side of town. You know, the South High School. They seem to be a little more lenient, and I think the kids. I don't want to say grew up a little faster, but I think the some of the stuff was around them. Also, if you knew older kids, then you would have more of the influence. My sister was a senior when I was a freshman, so uh, I was just introduced to the stuff at a different age.
And I don't think I smoked with your sister back then, but I definitely smoked with people that were in her crew.
Right.
Um, and definitely that is what it is. Older brothers, sisters were the ones that either beer or smoke were going to get us into the door there. And
Right.
was watching a show yesterday about how where 420 came about. There's so many different rumors out there, but this one on the History Channel seemed like the best one I had heard yet because um, I have been in a squad car when 420 was called. Like they go, we got a perp, we got a perp committing a 420. And
uh,
I remember being like, yeah, baby,
so
yeah,
that
I
is
was.
true. The
Well,
420?
it was in the farms. I was in the car when he said it to the people back at the station. But where they say it really originated was in the 80s, in the early 80s in California. The kids would get out of school, want to get their munchies together, their drinks together, so they'd all go from school to the little country mart or store,
The bodega.
the bodega, buy their stuff that they would prep up for a session, and they'd say, let's meet. And they always figured that the time they met, by the time they got that done out of school and got to the house, it was just about 4:20, not 4:30, not 4:10. It was right about 4:20. So they ended up just saying it turned into this. Let's smoke at 4:20. We'll meet at Tony's at 4:20 or Fungus's, and then
Yeah,
there you are.
my house was a nice meeting ground. Like I said before, on weekdays we did the Bong Toke Tuesdays. This is a couple years after, but we'd all reconvene at my house and have a little. Sometimes we wouldn't even eat lunch, but I remember we did a couple Bong Tokes this one time, and I have an apartment complex behind my house. This one kid parked in the complex, and there's like metal beams that you have to pull your car into. And this kid was so blown out from the bong. We used to call this thing the green machine because it would just destroy you. And I remember he was just scraped the whole side of his car. He was so blown out. But this isn't a PSA, folks. We do discourage amongst the youngsters. Wait till you're of age. Wait till you have your mind collected and do it in a safe environment. And please, please do not drive. But yeah, the stories keep. We were talking earlier. We were trying to come up with some ideas about what to talk about on our 420 escapade, and they all started flooding back to me. At first, I couldn't think of anything. Of course, with the pot, the short-term memory loss, it really cancels out the memories. But they did slowly start flowing into me. I remember this one time. This kid was a real turd. He was annoying us. Just kept at, will you pack it up? Will you pack it up? And finally, we're like, all right, we're gonna pack this thing up. So we took all the beaners and stems. People don't know maybe from today's bud because nothing has beaners they have stems, but no beaners anymore. But back in the day, we used to go to these streets like Maryland or Weyburn off Detroit, and you'd actually get a gram. You'd pull up, the guy would come out. What you guys need? We'd say a gram, and then you'd see him run, and he'd go and they like hit him in like the grass. They pull these little fucking gram bags out of grass, and they were brown. It was just the worst brickweed ever. Sometimes you'd get the Christmas bud, but for the most part, it was some brown, the D-Town Browns.
Yeah.
So you break it up. We took all the beaners and stems and we filled the bowl like probably 75% to the top, and then we took one bud and just placed it right on top of it. And I took the first hit. I just gently kissed the flame to the bud, took the hit. And then we gave it to this annoying kid, and he had one of those lighters that you use for cigars. It's like the butane lighter, like the torch. This fucking guy, he was so pumped up to smoke, he roasted the whole thing. It snapped, crackling, and popping, and we're just dying. We thought it was just gonna, I didn't even know what the effects were gonna be. But this kid went to town. He hit it. He got high because I'm sure there was some THC dripping from the nug or whatever on the stems. There's THC and stuff too. So I just remember we smoked it, and he was really, really high. And then we got in the car. We went to Wendy's to get some treats. And I look over at this kid, and he's just fucking green. And he's like, I got to get out of the car, man. I got to get out of the car. Finally, he just fucking vomits I mean, it was like something out of a show, bro. This kid just vomits all over the place. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if beaners make you ill. I heard beaners might, like, stunt your sperm growth. You ever heard that myth?
I can't believe. Yes, I have. I cannot believe that it didn't pop and like explode out of there like from that much heat and everything. Because beaners normally will like pop and like sometimes jump a little bit. If you had a bunch of
so hot,
it'd be like a fireworks show.
Yeah, I think it was so hot it just burned right through him, like just smoldered him down to the fucking quick. But yeah, that was a good story. Usually the ones that we're high on, it's hard to put all the pieces together. But because I remember I wasn't that baked during that one, but that I'll remember that for the rest of my life.
As you were talking, dude, I started, like you said, when we brought up the topic, nothing came to mind. Then I just started thinking. But you talked about the green machine. I used to have Superfly Jimmy Hookah, which was a Tide bottle that I drilled out the sides on Washed it 5,000 times, doesn't matter. Still tasted like smoke or soap
Yeah.
every time you smoked out of it. And I drilled 4 holes in it, turned the cap into a massive bowl, and then me and my 4 buddies, we would smoke
Have
basically at
at
my
it.
house. I did cart it to the Renaissance Festival one time with my buddies. We took it to the Renaissance Festival, took mind-altering drugs, and then smoked Superfly Jimmy Hookah in the backwoods of the Michigan Renaissance Festival.
Yeah, I remember we bought a hookah one time to smoke the herbal tobacco, but then we would I think we would mix in the bud. We would take like a full eighth because that shit would just burn the bud. But I don't know. You never really get that good of a high from a hookah if you're smoking bud out of it. I don't think.
We skipped class one time, me and my buddy Riz. We go to his mom's house. We got this big plan that we went to first and second hour, uh, and then skip the rest of the day. We're gonna go to Eastland, but we go to
Hmm.
his mom's house first. We smoke a fucking blunt. Junior year, maybe senior year. We smoke a blunt. Right about 11 a.m. It's snowy out, Michigan winter day. We go to back out to go to Eastland high as bejesus. I see this car coming down the street. My buddy's still backing down the driveway. I'm like, yeah, 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 yeah,
This
yeah,
isn't gonna
yeah.
end well.
He goes, what? It fucking hits, just goes back into the street, dude. It's this thing. It goes
Wow.
woo, 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 and then goes up on your uncle's front lawn and hits the tree. That's your
Oh,
uncle there, right?
yeah.
Yeah, living right there. It goes almost goes in the living room. Thank goodness this thing it hits the snow all over, goes right into the front tree on their front lawn. I go, oh shit. I'm in awe. I'm dazed and confused in the car. I go, what the fuck are you doing? He's out of the car running towards the woman. I was blown away then, as high as we were, that he was able to take control, but ran down the street. She's okay. She's shooken up, but she's okay. Comes back. He goes, what the fuck was she doing? I go, bro, what are you doing? She's driving down the street, dude. To
Yeah.
this
Minding their
day,
own business.
to this day, my buddy swears up and down that the car was parked and that he's backing out and that it decided to just start going at that time from a parked position and that she did this shit on purpose or like what was she doing? I just to this day we argue if I ever bring it up because I'll be like, bro, the car was driving down the street. I fucking looked at the thing, and
It
that's
was
why
a
I'm
thousand
wondering.
percent your fault, bro.
I go, no, why the fuck did you keep going? But yeah, it just brings up an argument if we ever bring it up. But that was
That reminds me of that commercial where the kid's at like the fast food place and
yeah.
it's a commercial about not smoking pot.
I
And then
always thought of
he just
Riz.
floors it, and I always made fun of that. But clearly, they were onto something with that one.
I've been high enough where I've been nervous to my own reaction time or something. I mean, I've driven a manual many times where I've been high and like,
Hmm.
but nothing like nothing serious. I haven't.
I get more in my head when I smoke. I'm always way more cautious of what I'm doing on the road. Excuse me. I think it just makes you. I think it makes you a better person to a degree because you're more you're taking in everybody's emotions. You're just overthinking things, and you're not going to be. It's like the opposite of drinking. When you drink, you kind of lose your inhibitions. When you smoke, it amplifies everything: your taste, your
It's
touch.
almost like ecstasy and an MDMA low level kind of thing. Because I know when I'm getting in a fight with my significant other, my girlfriend, or my parents or someone, if I smoke, I no longer am like, maybe it's a big deal and it's different, but when it's like a minute thing that's got me, in a mood,
Hmm.
um, I find it's gone. I find that like I'm able to communicate better and I'm not a jerk or I'm seeing more their point of view. I'm more
Yeah.
understanding. So like that's where I bring it back to a relaxation tool. I've noticed when I'm about to get into an argument or something, I'll puff and then I'll be like, okay,
Yeah,
I'm
but
chill.
I also think if you're like if you have a pretty good addiction to it, you're definitely more irritable when you're not smoking. Because I felt like that too, man. I was all amped up, and then I puff, and then sure enough, it just calms me down. But I'm sure there's a mixture of both of that.
Well, why don't you go come over here and hug me, babe?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The Bob Marley kicks on, and you're good to go. Ding, chicka, the chicka, ding. But what's the biggest bong you've ever taken a puff from? We used to have this 6-footer. I don't even
Yeah,
know why the fuck we bought this thing because you can't smoke it on your own. You need like a team.
you need a
You need a
crew.
team to help you. Yeah, you need a pit crew for this thing. A lighter guy, a dude to pull the pin.
Look out for the parents coming because you get to drag this thing from the attic.
You have to almost like you have to fill the thing up before you can even hit it.
6 footer, and they're stupid. I think
Yeah.
my favorite style of bong to get just annihilated is a gravity bong. We
Mm-hmm.
were famous for doing the milk carton into a bucket in the living room. That's what we would rip. And I got my pops had a great ceiling fan that would just clear the house out in about, I got it down to about 4 or 5 minutes. I could pretty much clear the house out with the windows open and sucking fresh air and just so you
Yeah.
just watch the smoke disappear. But gravities on the living room floor were just, and you just push that thing down, just
Yeah.
shoves that smoke into your
Yeah.
face like,
It jams it
ooh.
down your lungs. You have
Yeah,
no fucking excuse.
I've Ralphed from that. I have Ralphed from a gravity bong. I've puked back into the bucket that we did the gravity thing, but more like saliva, not like it's not like puke
Yeah,
puke.
chunks. Yeah, I never had an issue with puffing and drinking. Maybe once in a long, well, once in a blue moon. But I remember we were at a party one time, and my buddy, he was pretty hammered, and he'd never smoked pot. He's like, "Dude, come on, I want to hit this. I want to hit this." I just kept telling him, "You got to be careful, man. This stuff isn't. It's not the downtown Browns as it used to be. We were up in our game. We were getting the Beasters, they called it, the stuff from British Columbia, the old BC bud, and that's what we had at the time. So this shit was probably." A healthy 15%, which back then when you're buying 4%, 6% bud, this shit was fucking commendable. So he finally talked me into it. I gave him the pipe, and I swear to God, this guy, he inhaled smoke and he exhaled vomit. It was pretty fucking funny, bro. He hits it, and then as he blew out, dude, the vomit came so fast. So you gotta know what you're getting into. I know my aunt, man. If she smokes while drinking, she gets sick every single time because it's especially today's bud. This stuff's no joke. You'll be spinning soon.
I had an edible take me down about a year and a half ago, where I was 2 years ago, where I took a, even upon warning. Now I listen to these warnings, but half the time, the problem with edibles is it's so difficult to know what the hell is, how
The
much is actually
dosage.
in there, or even if you know there's 50 milligrams, how that 50 milligrams is going to affect you that day at that time. Every time it's like a roulette. But
Yeah, watch that mic, buddy. I can hear you crunching on that mic down there.
I took a big cookie. I think it was a cookie or a brownie. I'm rolling around on the couch, like literally, like I had the spins 2 years ago. Ashley goes, "What the fuck's wrong with you?" I go, "Oh my God, this needs to stop." I go, "I just need God to stop this." I was asking God to please help me and please stop this high. I could not believe I'd never been high like that. Um,
Yeah, it turns into a different compound when your liver processes the THC. It turns it into this like THCA or something. I don't know exactly the science behind it, but it's a whole body buzz, mind fucker.
I
I
had the spins. That whole room was going, dude. If I shut my eyes, it felt like I was drunk.
do you know how many milligrams you took?
I no, it was a homemade one. That was the
Mm,
problem, and I
yeah,
digested the whole fucking thing. I want to say you might have been the culprit behind the butter involved in this thing, but
yeah, I might have.
that was in the beginning runnings where less controlled, but it was my fault. I mean, now I pretty much, I mean, my thing with edibles is I book it, I almost do it like hallucinogens, dude. I don't just do an edible and hang out on a Tuesday afternoon. Like,
Hmm.
I need to have the whole day. It needs to be a day I'm chilling and not doing some. I gave some to my family recently at a wedding. This is actually about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago too. But I gave them, and might have been from the same batch actually, where I ended up saying, "Don't take the whole thing." I broke it into quarters for these people, and they were still. Two of the ladies involved in my family were like, "Okay, I'm shut down." They're like, "Don't ever give me that in front of public again."
Yeah,
And
that's you got to be careful with that shit. I remember when I was tweaking my recipe, me and my buddy, we were mixing the brown, or we were making cookies actually, and we made the cookie mix, and this kid was just he was spooning it as we were making them, and I kept telling him, I go, be careful, bro, be careful, because when it's wet dough, you don't even know really how much you're making, let alone how much you're consuming. So he kept eating it. He probably had about 3 or 4 cookies wet, and then we baked them, and by the time they came out of the oven, he was because right when you come up, you get a nice little hunger. They're a very good tool to activate the hunger and stuff like that. But so then he was hungry, and then he ate another 3 more of these things. So he definitely ingested over 200 milligrams, and that's being on the light end of things. And he was pacing back and forth. He ended up kicking me out of his house. He's like, "You gotta go, man." I think he was trying to just lay down and have it. The problem is the stuff it slows time down. So then the time goes by slower and it really doesn't fucking go away. He almost called an ambulance. He told me he was 5 minutes away from calling an ambulance.
That's
And
exactly how I felt. Yes, 100%. I told Ashley I might have to call an ambulance. She was going to work.
Yeah.
She goes, "Shut the fuck up." She's walking out the door, and I'm just literally sitting there like, "Oh my God, what is wrong with me?"
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
won't go away. It just doesn't go away.
No, you mentioned a very good point with the time slowing down. That's exactly what happens. And you're just sitting there in frozen time, like, oh my, it's literally like hallucinating too much. And it's the closest to tripping I've ever been with something where it's not designed to make you trip, you
Well, it's
know?
definitely a
So
psychoactive, and there's psychoactivity involved with that stuff. Pot's somewhat of a hallucinogen,
like
very
you said,
mild, but
going through the kidney, it just changes it also. So, but if anybody ever worries about ODing on weed, there's no way. It's just,
you gotta let it run its course.
yeah. Drink some water but I mean I couldn't even close my eyes. I was gonna Ralph from the room spinning.
Yeah. You also get really red. I get bloodshot eyes, very hungry. It's I've stopped doing it. I haven't taken an edible in probably 5 years. I'm afraid of it now.
What's your favorite strand you've ever ingested? You know,
Um, I like I like a more of a sativa. I like the super lemon haze has always been pretty good to me. Um, that's the one that sticks out to me the most. I think I have the most interaction with that strain. But it's hard nowadays. There's so many different kooky fucking variations. You got Avalanche's Death, fucking Mr. Minor. I mean,
when I
every
was
name known to man you can make up, dude. It's out of control, dude.
that's what I was about to say. The name of my favorite. I don't know if it actually is what it was, but I in 11th grade, my buddy picked me up prior to baseball tryouts. Okay, we got to be to tryouts in like 30 minutes, and we go behind one of those back streets in Grosse Pointe. Like one of those little nooks, and we're puffing like.
Yeah.
And he goes, "This is Jack Frost, but it's the only weed to this day. I've only smoked it one time. Whatever the strand was, he called it Jack Frost. He only had like a bud this big,
Mm-hmm.
wherever he got it. But it was the to this day the whitest bud I've ever seen. It had the most crystals. It was literally pure white, like a piece of snow, with crystals. I've never seen one since like this. I mean, I've seen great buds since then. I have not seen one like that. We smoked this. This is the end of my baseball career, also, by the way. We go to tryouts, and I'm trying out for second base. In the beginning run, you run with varsity. JV runs with varsity. I'm running with varsity. Varsity guys, which I'm considering bigger than me, I'm intimidated by them, pull me aside, like 4 of them. They're all ringing me up. The fuck did you do before tryouts? And they could see it in
Yeah.
my eyes. And I go, "What do you mean?" I go, "I didn't do shit." They're like, "You're fucking high as hell. The fuck out of here. You're a fucking mess." I'm like, "Oh shit, dude." So I'm just running. I'm like totally freaking out. All right. My other buddy I puffed with, he's trying out. Nobody's bugging him. I don't know how he got scot free. So we go to infield tryouts. I've smoked my Jack Frost. I'm fucking annihilated. At that point, definitely the highest I'd ever been.
Yeah.
And 6 ground balls in a row go right between my legs. He goes, "Try another one." Damn it, Marchetti. Dude, and each one he's hitting harder and harder because he's getting so frustrated that literally I'm just so dazed that I just come to them. I'm like, I got it. And like literally, I was like, I've got this one. And it'd go right through. I go, are you kidding me? My mitt wasn't even on the ground or something? Like I'm just so high and nervous.
Guy has a different vision of his own personality.
Well, 2 days later, I was cut. Coach was also my health teacher. Not the best idea to do this in front of, but also my health teacher pulls me aside. He's like, that didn't really work out this year. He's like, it seems like you got other things that are prioritizing your time. I was like, oh, fuck. So
yeah, do you ever think that maybe that Jack Frost had something else dipped on it or sprinkled on top, a little PCP or crack?
It was amazing weed. No, I don't. It was they looked like crystals. We examined this bud for 3 days or something because we were in awe by it, and then finally like smoked a little. You know, like we were making it a special moment. I don't know that me doing it before tryouts was the best of ideas, but hindsight, it was high school football. I really couldn't care less. But baseball.
Baseball.
But yeah, but I don't think it was that at all. They were crystals. They looked just like crystals. It was the most beautiful bud I've ever seen to this day. It was unfucking believable how this was. It was coated in crystals. But
yeah, when I was a kid, I used to love looking at the bud under the sunlight, man. That shit was just quite the view.
Pulling it out right in the sun on one of those back little alleys in GP, and I'm just like, holy shit, are we doing it now? Yeah. The Jack Frost.
Yeah, well, it is a strain, so maybe you found.
But even I've seen it to this day, and it does not look like that. That's why I don't know if it was actually Jack Frost or something else, or maybe someone literally took a bud and rolled it in crystals. You know, like I have a grinder that collects a lot of the crystals. You know, and that. So I'm wondering if maybe this thing was set up for
a moon rock or whatever they call it.
It looks like a moon rock, dude. I mean, it looked like a moon rock, but from full examination, it looked like a grown bud moon rock.
Yeah, see what these kids were doing in my high school, where they would take like regular bud with beaners and stuff, but then they would put like orange peels with them, and the bud would take on the moisture and open up, and then all the seeds would fall out, and the bud would get all damp and sticky, and they were slanging this shit for fucking 4 times the worth of a regs bag. I remember we called it the moldy dolge. You don't smoke this shit within like 3 days, it starts growing mold because there's like moisture from fucking fruit.
Yeah, we would do the same thing. Yeah, we would do the same thing, but I didn't resell it. That's hilarious. That's a great idea.
Yeah, those bastards.
Sounds like you were on the purchasing side several times.
Oh, yeah, I was. I remember I got this one bud, like you had the Jack Frost. I was like, I would baby this thing. I'd look at it, and I was like waiting for the perfect time to puff it. And I waited a bit too long because that moldy dolge activated. Fucking thing's growing hairs and shit, dude. Man, good times. Good high school times.
Well, fun stories. I think we probably ended on that, edited up, and posted for 420.
Look at this guy.
You know? Sign them out, boys.
Well, we'll go out on you taking a rip. I hope everybody's enjoying their old 420. You know, do it safe, do it indoors, don't drive. I guess in today's atmosphere, it's a lot easier to do it safe because there's really nowhere to go. So, cheers, Jimmy. I'll see you tomorrow.
Arrivederci.